here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So we are continuing our discussion with Azure AI Text Analytics Services. So this is my fourth video in that series, and please ensure that you have seen at least my first video, sentiment analysis, where I explained like how to create a different account and how can you get the key and the endpoint, all those things. So please ensure that you watch that video first. Okay. So in this video, we will be discussing on a feature or a particular AI service that is recognize linked entities. This is the one of the functionalities provided by the text analytics service. Here, it will recognize and disambiguate the identity of each entity found in the input text. Okay. So that means it will help us to connect with the knowledge base of the model. Okay, so basically, for example, if they have mentioned the Mars, okay, it may be mentioned as a planet or it may be mentioned as a Roman god, right? So in these two scenarios, we can mention the Mars. So using this data source, we will get more information. For example, they will give us a URL. Maybe we can say that a wiki URL. So using that, we will able to double check all those entities. Okay. So we can start writing the code and we can see how can we implement this. Okay, so once we implement this and once we see the output, we will get a more clear picture. Okay, so we can from the Azure core credential, we can import the credentials, Azure key, credential, then from Azure.ai text analytics, we can import text analytics client. We need to have a key and the endpoint that we can get it from here. Okay, so we have the key and the endpoint. Now we can create a object of text analytics. Here we can mention the endpoint as endpoint, then we can mention maybe credential as Azure key credential, we can pass the key. Okay, so we have the client is ready. Now we need to have a document. So to get the documents, what I have done is I have copied the few samples. Okay, so I have my sample.txt. So let me copy this one and I can paste it here. Okay, so this is the sample document. It says Microsoft was found by Bill Gates with some friends and he met at Harvard and one of his friends. So all those things included. Okay, now we can see how can we execute this. So we have the client is there. Now we can get the result. Okay, for that we can do client dot recognize entities. Okay, here I can pass the documents. So we have the result. Now let me check for doc in result. I can check that I need to get the doc which does not have any errors. Okay, error spelling is wrong, is error, not is error. I need to get the doc. So we have the result ready. Now we can print it. Okay, doc in docs. First we can print it, then we can see the result first. Let me execute this Python reg linked entities. Okay, so I'm going to execute this here. Okay, look at this. Here what we can see, we have ID 0. It has a few entities there because we have only one record is there. In the entities, we can see a Microsoft, and Microsoft is matched with here we can see that it has a few matches it has found, okay, in the document. Then we can see that it has a URL. Okay, so this is the wiki URL and we have a data source. So this is the knowledge byte is connecting with. Okay. So we can loop through this one. Okay, then it will be more clear. So we can get the entity. You see that we have entities are there. Now we can print the text. We can print the entity first. The entity can be printed as entity.name. Okay, now we can see how many times. Okay, it's mentioned times. Okay, that entity has mentioned this many times, so this can be found. So here when we get a entity, we know that there is a match. If there is any match is there. Okay, so let me show you that again. So here we found an entity as a Microsoft. Okay, now it found some matches. Okay, so this will give us how many times that particular word is mentioned in the document. So to get that, I can take the entity dot matches, length of that match. Okay, now maybe we can print it, so we will get a clear picture. Okay, now so let me print it here. Okay, see, Microsoft it's mentioned 3 times, Bill Gates is mentioned 2 times. So we can check that. So Microsoft, we can click on this, we can see that 3 times it is mentioned, and Bill Gates it is mentioned 2 times, and Harvard University, Harvard it's mentioned only 1 time. Okay, so this seems to be fine. Maybe Chief Executive Officer, CEO, the CEO is mentioned 2 times. Okay, so it seems to be recognizing correctly. Now we can see the URL. Okay, so in that we can check that if entity has a data source which is equal to Wikipedia, then it must have a URL. So in that case we can print the URL here. Print URL. The URL will be entity dot URL. So let me add F here. Okay, now let me run this command. So we can see that. Okay, so in each of these things we can mention that there is a URL is there. Okay, so it explain about, so this link is explain about Satya Nadella. Maybe I can click on this one. Let me click on it. Okay, see, it's talk about Satya Nadella. So it seems to be working fine. Okay, so there are a lot of things are included here. So for that you guys can explore this, right? You guys can print the doc and you can see like what all things you know, maybe conference score we can add with that. So please try it out. Okay, so yeah, that's all in this video. So please do like and subscribe. Have a nice day. Bye bye.